What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. I'm going to break down some news that's coming out about the European sales that are declining for the short term and what this means for the share price moving forward. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends very soon at the end of March. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, okay, Tesla's lost the support at this 380 area, and I did mention that it could be dipping all the way down to about the 370 zone. We actually touched that during the pre-market, and there's some buyers who are trying to defend it at 370. So right here, there's buyers defending 370, but now we have resistance at 375. Whichever way it breaks from here will determine a bigger move. So if 375 breaks, we could try to push to this imbalance closer to 380 again. And if we end up, losing 370, we could be dipping back down to like 365. So I'll be watching this very closely between 370 and 375. But just know that there has been some negative headlines coming out. There's been a lot of talk about how the German sales are down 59%, and many other European markets are seeing their sales declining. Some sources are blaming Elon Musk, calling him crazy and things just like that. They're also mentioning that his politics could be a reason why. I would argue that we can't truly say that. Because it's very, very early into the year. I wouldn't necessarily say Tesla sales are at a true decline. It's only 1 month into the year. We have to wait. Excuse me, we have to wait for the Model Y refresh to come out to truly say that. So I wouldn't necessarily blame it all on Elon Musk with the new Model Y coming out. However, it is possible that Elon Musk is partly responsible because of the fact that he is in support of Trump. That could be somewhat of of playing a role in this. But like I said before, it's very early on, so I wouldn't necessarily be too scared yet. But nonetheless, I do want to admit that at least for the month of January, we're seeing a big decline in the French sales. They're down about 63%. They're down 44% in other markets and about 38% in Norway. They're also down about 42% in the Netherlands, and in California, they're down about 12%. So we're seeing the sales down all over Europe, especially in the top 5 markets. And then in Germany, they're down about 59%. They only registered about 1,277 new cars in January, the lowest monthly sales since July of 2021. There's actually a chart right here that shows you. So January right over here of 2025 is very, very lackluster. So once again, is Elon Musk at fault? I know a lot of headlines are blaming him. I would say it's possible, but I wouldn't necessarily be, putting way too much blame on him just yet, because we have to wait and see what happens to the sales as months progress, and then we're gonna have to see what happens once the Model Y refresh comes out. It's possible that Tesla has an absolutely killer March. What if March becomes extremely killer for Tesla? They offset these declines in sales with the new Model Y. This could be the savior for Tesla, so we'll see about that. It looks very, very awesome. I have a bunch of pictures of it right over here. So that could be it, guys. But I just want to say that there's a lot of negative news about their sales declining. So just keep that in mind. Whether you want to blame Elon or not, that's what's causing Tesla to gap down right now. So keep that in mind. Anyways, don't forget that today is Thursday, February 6th, 2025. We just got initial jobless claims, which is very close to expectations. Then we have some bill auctions at 11:30 a.m., and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's too significant. For Friday, we have the unemployment numbers, but that's pretty much it, at least for the time being. For other factors out there, later on today, we have Amazon announcing their earnings, so get ready for that. And then today, we just got Peloton in the morning. Peloton is doing very, very well. I think the share price is up 13% as it edges closer to profitability, and they had better than expected sales. So if you look down here, the loss per share is at 24 cents versus 18 cents expected. It's not that great. The revenue was above expectations at about $674 million. On top of this, their guidance was not bad, and that's what's helping the share price once again continuing to push. So good guidance, and the fact that they are getting closer to profitability is what's helping them. Despite the fact that they didn't miss on EPS, they're still offsetting that. So great job by Peloton with a nice push. Anyways, that's it for earnings and everything. Now let's just focus on Tesla. So I am seeing some buyers trying to defend this 370 area after Tesla got a very, very big dump. It depends. Can we get back above 375? I'll be watching to see if we form a base or not. The market may decline a bit, so I do think Tesla could retest the lower like 370s. Then we'll see if we get a bounce or not. If we get a bounce off 370, we're looking for a retest of 375 or above. If we don't hold 370 during this test and we start losing it, we could be declining closer to like 365. As of right now, Tesla's a little bit lackluster. I think that there's going to be a risk of us potentially declining back down to 370, if not lower. But then we'll see if we get a bounce after that. So just keep that in mind. We're still looking quite lackluster compared to the market. So look for a retest of 370, and we'll see if we get a bounce later on or not. But I just want to give you guys a warning. We're still going to look a little bit lackluster for now, especially because when you look at SPY, okay, we're at this upper resistance here. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a slight decline here if we dip like 1 to 2 points before we continue this uptrend. So it could be a small dip before it tries to continue to push back up to about that 609 area. So be careful. Watch and see if 605 holds. If not, we could decline just a tiny bit before it starts to rebound and push even higher. As long as we're above 605, though, we're favoring a push to about 609. We might decline just a little bit before it tries to continue to push, so just keep that in mind. It might be a very, very minor decline, though. Looking at the QQQ, it's possible that we retest like the 526 area, tiny decline before it starts bouncing up for about 530. So it still looks bullish overall. We might see it retest the lower trend line first for a tiny little dip by 1 point or so before it tries to bounce again. So just keep that in mind. The Russell 2000 has a tough resistance at 230, but just keep in mind that there's an inverse head and shoulders setup that's still present. And if we break 230, we're looking for essentially 232. So it still looks more bullish. On ES, the same thing. We're at the upper resistance right here. Generally, what you would be expecting is a decline right over here. It's about 60, 80, a small one to this lower trend line. Then we just try to break resistance and continue to push like this. That's what this could be doing, getting ready for the 6100s. Might be a small decline first before it tries to continue to push. On NQ, this is already showing some signs of a small decline. Could be retesting this trend line, so it might be dipping to about the 21,680s before it tries to bounce like this and continue to push back up towards the 21,900s. So we'll watch that very closely. If we do get a small decline and a bounce, that's going to be very key for us. For Bitcoin, we have this tough resistance here. We're trying to break through this. We have to watch and see if 98,500 holds. As long as this holds, we could continue to push up to 100,000. So it's trying to break resistance. As long as you hold above this trend line, there's potential for a rebound to about 100,000. I see potential in Bitcoin. For NVIDIA, as long as we're above 126, I'm looking for an attempt for 130 very soon. We might see some shuffling right here in the 126 area before it tries to break out, but it is looking more bullish. Tesla is very flat between 375 and 370, by the way. Might retest the low 370s, but I'm hoping that it eventually tries to base. I'm hoping that it hits 370 and tries to base here before it tries to rebound. If not, it will decline more, so it's still kind of lackluster. For Apple, we're very flat right now, although there's an inverse head and shoulders like structure. There's a tough resistance at this 232 area. It could decline like this back down to like 230 or so before it tries to break out towards 236. So we'll see if we get some kind of bounce or not, at least from this area. For a few more factors, we have coin, which is very flat right here, especially as we have this gap down here to fill. We'll see if coin comes down to fill this gap before it tries to bounce like this. I'll be watching that very, very closely. For AMD, it's a little lackluster. I wanted to see this try to rebound here. Might see a decline here. We'll have to see if we make a higher low compared to this low at 106. So it might dip towards like 108 to 109 before it tries to bounce back up to 113. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Amazon, run a nice uptrend so far. We have to see if we could hold support at 237. As long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt for 240. And if we turn back down, we're looking for 235. I think that Amazon could slowly uptrend for 238 to 240. Then we'll see if we break out even more or less depending on earnings. For Meta, we're going to be watching to see if 700 holds. If not, we have 696. We're consolidating right now, so give this some time to develop. For Microsoft, we have a nice accumulation right here. It may slowly inch its way up for about 415. And then Google is trying to base. I think it's going to try to base at 190 to 191. Still kind of lackluster. Might come down just a bit more. But as long as we could hold 190 to 191, this could try to bounce later on. And I think Amazon's earnings can have a big effect on this. So we're just waiting for that. Otherwise, it's going to shuffle a bit. With that being said, guys, watch Tesla maybe decline a little bit more. It could retest 370. And we'll see if we get a bounce from here. I want to see if we could hold 370 at the very least. If not, we're going to be declining even more. I do want to warn you, it's going to be a little lackluster. There's a lot of negative news about their sales so far, but it's not the end of the world. We're waiting for the Model Y refresh and other factors like that that could help Tesla offset all these losses. With that being said, have a good day, guys. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update, and peace out.